Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton joins us now. I'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment. But first to U.S.-Iranian relations. Where are things headed?
Sandra, I'm worried they're headed in a very dangerous direction. Joe Biden seems to be trying to surrender to the Ayatollahs in Vienna over negotiations with the nuclear plan, but I'm not sure the Ayatollahs are ready to accept his surrender. The story that you write about, or that you just spoke about the Iranian vessels conducting dangerous operations near American naval ships in the Persian Gulf is the second time in a couple of weeks. And I think that's in the context of these negotiations, as Iran thinks that they can get more leverage over Joe Biden and over America for these negotiations in Vienna by threatening our naval vessels in the Persian Gulf. Now, I have every confidence that if Iran wants to start a fight in the Persian Gulf on the water, that our Navy can end that fight very promptly if Joe Biden will allow them. But what I don't have confidence in is the direction that these negotiations are heading in Vienna, giving away the store to Iran and their nuclear deal while turning a blind eye to things like their aggressive naval posture, their support for terrorism around the country, or their oppression of their own people.
To these reports of leaked audio on behalf of John Kerry, Mike Pompeo went on Hannity last night and sounded off on what we're hearing. Listen.
While I was briefing President Trump, Kerry was briefing Zarif on intelligence that related to Israeli operations. I hope that's not true. John Kerry needs to come forward. Secretary Kerry needs to speak to the American people and explain to them why he was meeting with Zarif.
So what is the plan on behalf of Congress now to investigate those allegations that John Kerry is currently still denying?
Well, Sandra, this tape also reveals that Javad Zarif and really the Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, are nothing but mouthpieces. They're front men for the Ayatollahs towards a gullible Western leadership. We're negotiating right now with the people in Vienna who don't really have power in Iran. It's the theocrats and their military. If these reports about John Kerry sharing that information with Iran are true, and it happened before that information was in the public domain, they're very concerning, and John Kerry should resign over those allegations if they're proven correct. But in the meantime, to address these allegations, he needs to come to Congress and speak to us in a classified setting, if necessary, about exactly what happened.
Is that going to happen?
Well, I certainly hope so. John Kerry is out gallivanting around the country right now, or gallivanting around the world, trying to give away American jobs in return for ephemeral promises about carbon emission reductions. You would think the least he could do is come down the street and speak to our Congress about potentially divulging highly sensitive details about Israel's operations to keep its country safe.
I want to put up on the screen for you a Washington Post op-ed on Biden's Sputnik moment as we await his first speech to a joint session of Congress tonight. Our Generation Sputnik moment has finally arrived, says the Washington Post op-ed. This may be Biden's chance to seize a Sputnik moment in a way that Obama never managed. Biden has had an opportunity to galvanize Americans to support an ambitious agenda, especially infrastructure investment, by highlighting the national imperative to come together to compete with a rising China. Senator, what do you expect to hear from Biden tonight when it comes to China, knowing that this is something you have spoken a lot about and you were very supportive of Trump policies when it came to China?
Yeah, well, Joe Biden needs to explain to the American people how China is the #1 threat of our lifetimes. We have to confront rising Chinese aggression. One thing he could do is talk about how he's going to actually fund our military. You know, the Democrats are going to spend $6 trillion if they get their way on huge tax and spend liberal priorities. You would think they'd be able to find enough money to fund our military. Yet they've submitted a budget that has a cut in real inflation-adjusted dollars. They're already talking about not funding our nuclear forces, which is the most credible deterrent we have against China. And they're already talking about cutting troop levels and numbers of ships and aircraft and so forth. If they're going to spend $6 trillion on huge liberal priorities, you would think they could find a few dollars to fully fund our military and make our deterrent against China credible.
Well, he is going to make his pitch to the American people for massive spending plans that we have seen laid out in his first 100 days. Senator Cotton, appreciate your time. Thank you.